You might think you know Steve Ditko, but here are 12 facts you may not have known about Sturdy Steve. Stephen J. Ditko was born on November 2nd, 1927 in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. His parents were immigrants from Czechoslovakia. Ditko developed a love for comics thanks to the original Batman comics and Will Eisner's The Spirit, which ran in newspapers. In junior high school, Ditko would craft wooden models of German airplanes in order to help train aircraft spotters during World War II. After graduating high school in 1945, Ditko enlisted in the Army, where he served in post-war Germany, drawing comics for an Army newspaper. After studying with Batman artist Jerry Robinson at the Cartoonist and Illustrator School, Ditko began drawing comics professionally in 1953. He soon found employment as an inker at Joe Simon and Jack Kirby's studio, and then in 1954 began working for Charlton Comics, where he would co-create the superhero Captain Atom. Following a brief hiatus from comics due to contracting tuberculosis, Ditko found work with Atlas Comics in 1955, where he drew many of their sci-fi and horror titles, such as Journey into Mystery, Tales of Suspense, Strange Tales, and one book that would eventually be titled Amazing Fantasy. When Jack Kirby was considered the wrong choice for a new superhero feature in Amazing Fantasy, Ditko was brought in to co-create Spider-Man, which he would draw for the next several years. During this era, Ditko also co-created Doctor Strange in the pages of Strange Tales, and his psychedelic visuals have defined the character to this day. Ditko contributed ideas other than new characters to Marvel, however. For example, it was Ditko's idea that Bruce Banner would transform into the Hulk when he got angry, and Ditko also designed the now classic red and gold version of Iron Man's armor. By the end of Ditko's 38-issue run on Spider-Man, he and writer Stan Lee were not speaking at all. Ditko would plot and draw the issue, and Lee would write dialogue. The legend is that Ditko left Spider-Man over a disagreement with Lee over the Green Goblin's true identity, but Ditko denies this because they weren't even talking to each other enough to have an argument. Ditko was famously reclusive and still is to this day. A notable example of this is when Marvel released a record for their fan club, which introduces the various members of the Marvel Bullpen. Each person at Marvel made an appearance on the record, except Ditko, who was depicted as jumping out the window rather than having his voice recorded. Additionally, Ditko is famously an ardent follower of the objectivist teachings of Ayn Rand. This is most notable in his creation of the character Mr. A, whose name reflects the objectivist teachings that A is A, and who debuted in the third issue of Wally Wood's Wit's End in 1967. Though most famous for his co-creations of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, Dit created or co-created many other notable characters, including the second Blue Beetle, The Question, The Creeper, Hawk and Dove, Shade the Changing Man, Speedball, and Squirrel Girl. The art of Steve Ditko can also be found in a number of surprising licensed comics, including a miniseries based on the cartoon Phantom 2040, 2 issues of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, several Transformers coloring books, and a giveaway comic from Big Boy Restaurants. In 2007, BBC host Jonathan Ross made a documentary called In Search of Steve Ditko, in which he hunts down the reclusive artist, who continues to make comics to this day, well into his 80s. These comics are typically made up of brief vignettes, essays, and editorial cartoons. That's it for this episode of You Think You Know Comics. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Comics Alliance for more comic facts, and check out comicsalliance.com for more comic awesomeness.